What were you guys doing when you were 16 years old? Think about it. Let it sink in and start to feel kind of bad about yourself, because if it wasn't winning the Euros with your country, or scoring the goal of the tournament, or breaking dozens of records for being the youngest player to score a brace in La Liga, the youngest player to win man of the match at Euros, the youngest player to be obviously way cooler than I am, because I'm sat here making YouTube videos and you're still not even subscribed. So it's obviously not going as well for me as I thought it would when I was 16 years old.
Please,
Golden Boy is an award that comes around once a year, and its sole purpose is to just make me feel bad. There's a lot of great young players coming through the ranks in 2024. You've got players like Savio, who just got a transfer to Man City. You've got Arda Güler, who had a great campaign with Turkey. You have Endrick, who is very promising, and Real Madrid already have their hands on him. But it's not even close, because Lamine Yamal is going to be picking up the Golden Boy trophy in a few months' time. It's unanimous. In fact, Sport, who is actually the creator of the award, has already basically said that Yamal has wrapped it up. Even though votes are still coming in, if you search up Golden Boy on Wikipedia, Lamine Yamal's picture is already there for 2024, and I really don't think that anybody can be mad about it. But as much of a blessing that this award can be, it can be even more of a curse, because when you set such high expectations for such a young player, it can lead to some pretty harsh media criticism later down the line. Even if you have a good career, there's always going to be a gray cloud hanging above you of never reaching your full potential. And Lamine Yamal is already getting Ballon d'Or shouts this year alone, and there's only been 1 out of 22 Golden Boy Award winners who have actually gone on to win the Ballon d'Or so far. Granted, he did it 8 times, but it begs the question, do you guys think Lamine Yamal is going to actually go on to win Ballon d'Or? Let me know down in the comments. There's also a few players on this list who have won Golden Boy who didn't even come close to the expectations that were given when they won this award. We'll start in 2008, where there was absolutely no shortage of wonder kids to choose from to win the Golden Boy this year, like Karim Benzema, who you may have heard of for winning the 2022 Ballon d'Or, or Marcelo for being one of the best, if not the best left back in the history of football, or, of course, Micah Richards, who famously burst onto the scene.
I burst onto the scene, didn't I?
But instead of those 3 absolute studs, it went to a man named Anderson Oliveira. And Anderson Oliveira had just gotten a move from Porto to Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United. And he was meant to be a key piece to that team for a generation to come, but it just did not work out that way at all. Anderson had a promising start to his career. Of course he did, because he won the Golden Boy, but that start to his career was also the peak of his career. Anderson was always going to have a tough time when the 4 players that preceded you to Golden Boy were Wayne Rooney, Lionel Messi, Cesc Fabregas, and Sergio Aguero. It's a tough shoe to fill. His 24 caps that he got under Fergie for Manchester United in 07-08, which led to him winning the Golden Boy Award, would be the most caps and minutes that he'd play in a top 5 league in his entire career. And even during that peak, he was already showing signs that injuries would plague him and physical fitness would be an issue, which in other words is just not having that dog in ya. Either way, he spent some time at Manchester United, 7 years in fact, but every single season he was played less and less and less until David Moyes replaced Fergie after he retired and Anderson was phased out of the team entirely. He was sent out on loan to Fiorentina, which didn't really go that well. He was sent out on loan to Internacional, and then he just moved back to Brazil and retired at just 31 years old. The media caught hold of that early on in his career, and he faced a lot of scrutiny for not being healthy, not playing very much, not being able to last 90 minutes for a lot of his career as a midfielder. And even though he didn't have an unsuccessful career, he won some trophies at Manchester United. He got to play with some of the biggest clubs in the world, but he will always be seen in the media's eyes as a failure, because in comparison to all of the other winners of the Golden Boy, he just did not live up to those expectations. Even after Anderson, there were the likes of Isco, who was wildly successful with Real Madrid, Mario Götze, who ended up scoring the winner in the World Cup in 2014. When you score the winner to bring the World Cup back to your country, I think you've secured yourself to living up to the hype. And then also Paul Pogba, who you could argue had a similar stint at Manchester United, but it's no denying that Paul Pogba has reinvented the center mid, and his time at Juventus was undeniably world class. And now he's banned from football, which is far from ideal. I do not think that Paul Pogba will be winning a Ballon d'Or anytime soon. But this next player we're talking about is so uninfluential on the pitch as of the last few years that maybe he could get banned from football and nobody would actually notice. His name is Anthony Martial. The 2015 Golden Boy winner gave Manchester United fans hope that they had found the best striker of the upcoming generation. Another false hope for them. In fact, he was so hyped up that when Monaco sold him to Manchester United, there was a clause that said that if Anthony Martial were to win Ballon d'Or over the course of the next 3 years, that they would have to pay Monaco millions of dollars. Unfortunately for Manchester United, they saved a few bucks. And to be honest, Anthony Martial had a more successful stint than Anderson Oliveira did. His first 2 seasons at Manchester United were very promising. In fact, so promising that I decided to take him in the first round of my fantasy Premier League draft back in 2016 and 2017 season, which was a terrible idea, and I would like my $100 buy-in back for that, Anthony. You absolutely screwed me with your 4 goals that entire season. And he, to be honest, didn't do too much after that either. He had his last cap for the France national team at 25 years old, and right now, after a failed loan spell at Sevilla where he scored 0 goals, came back to Manchester United, barely played any minutes, and now is sitting without a club. I can't imagine he's going to be getting called up to a very strong French national team anytime soon. But to take some of the spotlight off of Anthony Martial, just a year later came Renato Sanches, winning Golden Boy in 2016, shining for Benfica, but even more so for the Portuguese national team during their run in Euros 2016. After helping them lift the trophy at the end of the tournament, getting praise for being everywhere all at once, incredible work rate, stamina, and ability to be part of pretty much every phase of play, he got a big money move to Bayern Munich, in which he wasn't really able to beat out any of the other midfielders for any playing time. He got sent on loan to Swansea, and that didn't work out all too well, and then got sold by Bayern Munich for less than what they bought him for over to Lille. He regained some form at Lille and then got the eyes of PSG. He made a move to PSG and fell into the exact same problem he did at Bayern Munich. Just could not get any minutes. And then he got sold to Roma. And ever since that move, his market value has continued to dip and dip and dip. And now he's estimated to only be worth about $5 million for a transfer, which is far less than the potential he had just 8 years ago. After Renato Sanches, it seems like Tuttosport's eye for spotting a young star got back on track with the likes of Mbappe in 2017, Erling Haaland in 2020, Jude Bellingham in 2023, already getting shouts for Ballon d'Or, and then players like Pedri, Gavi, and Lamine Yamal. It might just be a little bit too early to tell, but it's never too early to subscribe to Nitro Football, because don't you want to tell your friends that you subscribed to Nitro Football before 10,000 subscribers? Of course you do.